I'm going to call the meeting to order.
She's four. It's like half and half.
We're going to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, and let's remain standing, and the Honorable Jack Scrogstead is going to do the invocation for us tonight.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father God, we come into thanks to you, our Lord, and Jesus Christ, our Savior. In Matthew 5:13, you say that we are the salt of the earth. I pray that you would speak to the spirit of every man and woman in this body here today, along with every elected official who has the ability to create policy and laws in the United States, that they hear your direction to push back against the evil and the corruption of the world and to help renew and heal the world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Move on to roll call. Nancy, would you do that, please?
Sure. Acree,
Here.
Bivens,
Here.
Book,
Here.
Frio,
Here.
Considine, Hudson,
Present.
Huss,
Here.
Kitson,
Present.
Copine,
Present.
Laram,
Present.
Naylor,
Present.
Pearson,
Present.
Robertson,
Present.
thank you, Sheline,
Here.
Shippert,
Here.
Scrogstead,
Here.
White, Wilson,
Here.
Zeman, Olson.
Present. Thank you, Nancy. Under announcements, I got, please turn your cell phones off or mute them so they don't interrupt our meeting. And we've got a couple announcements. We got a couple of 25-year employees. We'd like to recognize Kathy Ferguson. Do you want to come to the podium at this time and introduce them?
Can you hear me? Okay. I have the pleasure of introducing one of our great employees tonight, Lois Dober. Lois has held a variety of positions during her tenure with the health department. She has been our front office secretary, support staff for our maternal and child health division, and then for the environmental health division. And she's been in her current role of fiscal services coordinator for the past 6 years. As such, she's one of 2 fiscal staff that keep the department running smoothly financially, and she's also become our in-house computer troubleshooter. Words that Lois's coworkers used to describe her include accurate, consistent, organized, knowledgeable, thorough, kind, considerate, helpful, adaptable, intuitive, friendly, resourceful, and determined. And I'd like to add a few phrases to this list. Having worked with Lois for more than 2 decades now, I have a firsthand knowledge of her work, and we are also office neighbors, so I get to interact with her a lot. Team player. She has a fantastic memory. She's kind of our historian. Good sense of humor, great work ethic, and as you can tell from the adjectives they used, very well liked by her coworkers. So I know I speak for all LCHD employees when I say how grateful we are to have Lois on our team, and Lee County is fortunate to have such a dedicated employee. Lois, congratulations, and thank you for 25 great years and counting.
We also have Amy Brokerner. Amy, would you like to take over?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to recognize Amy Procunier for her 25 years of employment with the Lee County Circuit Clerk's Office. I am going to have Amy come stand next to me, please, so you know who she is. A lot of people know her, some may not. Sorry. Amy's a dedicated and reliable employee, and she's usually the first person in the office and sometimes the last. Amy's a person who truly cares for her job and goes above and beyond to help the public when they come into the office. Helping the public is a huge part of everyone's day, whether it's on the phone or in person. She explains everything thoroughly so they can get what they need. Her ability to work through unforeseen challenges and collaborate so well with the rest of the team is impressive and shows exceptional critical thinking skills and true dedication to this department. When the pandemic hit, the way we operated completely changed in more ways than one. It was unheard of not to have numerous people coming in and out of the courthouse daily. Zoom hearings became the new thing, with people sitting in their living rooms attending court on a TV screen with the judge, the clerk, and the court reporter in the courtroom. Change is hard for everyone, but we managed to work together as a team and learn new procedures in going forward. Amy has a tendency to say, well, this is how we used to do it. And she would grab one of her many binders and look it up. And I would say, Amy, things have changed. So let's make some new notes. And she'd laugh and she'd go on her way and do it without hesitation. Every once in a while, Amy will come into my office and tell me how she helped someone. And they were so thankful. Well, she would actually tell the person, tell my boss. One day, I had a voicemail from a lady who wanted to let me know Amy helped her out so much. It saved her a lot of time, Amy just listening to her problem, helping her with her situation, and she wouldn't know what she would have done that day if Amy wouldn't have answered the phone. That goes to show how Amy goes the extra mile to help. Amy continues to step in and help whenever we need it. If we're short-staffed, she has no problem with switching up her daily routine when asked. Her work ethic is excellent. Thank you for going above and beyond. Your efforts are valued and noticed. Your performance is exceptional, and we acknowledge your loyalty. We're fortunate to have you on our team. It's been a privilege to work with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you continue to do great things here. On behalf of everyone in Lee County, I want to give you this token of our appreciation for all your hard work and dedication.
Thank you. Thank you for the commitment for 25 years to Lee County. That's awesome, both of you. We'll move down to approval of minutes. Is there any changes or corrections to the minutes of the September 21st board meeting? If none, we're going to let them stand as read. We'll go down to monthly resolutions. We have no Joseph Meyer auctions this month. So we'll go down to zoning and planning. Their report is in your packet, in your book. Well, any questions on the report? If none, we'll keep moving on. We have one petition going to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Petitioner First State Bank, it's parcel number 05-17-08-302-016 and 05-17-08-302-015. It's a variance for the reduction in front property setback in Brooklyn Township. So that'll be going to the zoning board. Is there a motion to move this petition to the Zoning Board of Appeals? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. Any discussion at all? Any discussion? If none, all those in favor of moving it, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We have no petitions going to the Planning Commission. We have no petitions coming from the ZBA, and there are no petitions coming from the Planning Commission. So we'll go down to administrative monthly update and board member comments. We'll start with Wendy. Do you have anything you'd like to report? Oh, she's out. Sorry. I seen her walk out the back too. I'm sure we'll give her a chance here later. Any board members at this time? No board members? Got any comments? All right. Do you have anybody for public comments? I didn't. All right, we'll move down to, we have no public comments. Let's go to the county. She's here. Let's go to the county organization presentation. Carla Belzer, the director of Illinois Extension Office, has a report she'd like to share.
Well, good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all. It's always so hard to come to this meeting and just give you a quarterly update because we do so many things all the time that I could honestly stand up here and probably fill the whole hour that you have for your meeting. So I'll try to keep this brief. But I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the things that we've done in the county since the last time I was here in July, and also just note some things that are coming up. And I am not sure what order you have our handouts and flyers in the packet, so I'll try to follow that and can explain those. But just to remind everyone, based on both formal and informal needs assessments, we address several priority issues here in the county. So some of those are chronic disease prevention and management, social emotional health, food access, thriving youth, and workforce preparedness and advancement. So most people know Extension for our 4-H programs, and that division of Extension is always doing something, not only with our traditional community clubs through 4-H, but also with the community as a whole. So just a few things to highlight. On the club side of things, we have hosted some leaders trainings for our volunteers, as well as club officer trainings for the youth. And if you've never been in 4-H, it is a youth-led organization. So the youth are in charge of their monthly club meetings. They learn Robert's rules. They learn how to make motions. And we're really proud of that we're teaching these young people really to be citizens of tomorrow and how to even come into meetings like this in the future and have a comfort level. So those are some things that we've been up to. The first handout that I see, our Build Your Future Career Club, is a great offering that grew out of a little nugget of a community event that is actually taking place tomorrow. So tomorrow at Sauk Valley Community College, the Regional Office of Education is hosting called the Pathway Playground. And essentially businesses, community organizations are invited. They meet with all of the 8th graders in the county. And they have little stations that they go to and learn about different careers that are available in our local area. So when we were approached to do this, my staff were kind of like, oh, it's kind of hard to explain what Extension does. I've worked for Extension for 9 years, and my own children really have a hard time understanding what my job is. So my staff developed this opportunity to do some career exploration with the kids that they're going to see tomorrow. So all 8th graders in the county tomorrow will get some career exploration. And then spinning off of that was a club opportunity where the kids can voluntarily sign up to do an in-depth exploration of careers and hopefully link them back to local opportunities. That specific opportunity is also going to have a culmination event of a trip down to campus. So again, connecting our local community with the university. So we're really proud of that opportunity as well. We have a spin club coming up that is in sewing. One of the things that is ongoing currently in the county is our Health Jam program. That's a partnership with KSB. And if you paid attention or saw it on 23 News, or I believe it was in the newspaper also a few weeks ago, we actually hosted President Timothy Killeen, who is the current president of the University of Illinois, as well as Chancellor Robert Jones from the University of Illinois. They were here at KSB, just a few blocks away, learning about rural medicine. And Extension was honored to have some time in front of both of those very important people to explain about the role that we play with our Health Jam program. So they're in your packet. I would encourage you to read that. That program specifically addresses obesity and physical inactivity in our local youth, as well as introduces them to health careers. So we have some outcome and some impact. Over the years, that's a program we've offered for 10 years here in the county. And we've had 1,500 students go through that program and improve their overall health outcomes. So we're doing some different things with different community partners through Teen Turf. We're doing some mindfulness programming through the YMCA, We have different programs going on as well. So just a couple of community events to highlight. We are going to have an art show. Our youth that have done some visual arts programs, you don't have a flyer in your packet with that, but that will be at the Next Picture Show here beginning just in a few days, and we'll run a week and really give an opportunity for our youth to showcase their artistic talents as well. Also, all board members are invited. We are having our Lee County Awards and Volunteer Recognition on Saturday, November 18th. You should have a flyer in your packet with that. That just, again, is to honor and recognize all of the efforts, not only of our youth, but of our volunteers as well. So just wanted to highlight some work that we're doing in the food access area around gardening. Our master gardeners are doing a lot of programming out there in the community. If you're at Scarecrow Fest on Saturday, you'll see them out there with their annual table. They also have a program at the library in Franklin Grove for both adults and youth, teaching them about big and small gardening as well. Here in Lee County, we had 2 state award winners for their volunteer work, Joyce Bettner of Pawpaw and Zach Moss of Dixon. So we like to highlight their excellent work as well. In terms of chronic disease prevention and management and social emotional health, our family life educator has resumed brain health programming in partnership with KSB. I didn't get the flyer in time to get that into the packet, so you'll see that the next time I'm here. That has been just so well received, and it's a great opportunity for people of any age to address their own brain health. I also included our program listings so you can see all of our current programs. And one final thing I want to highlight before I introduce my colleague is you may have also seen this in the paper this week. We are very, very proud to be entering a partnership with Sauk Valley Community College to enhance and advance agriculture education in our community. So our horticulture educator will be teaching a horticulture class for credit to Sauk students. We'll also be offering some non-credit community classes out at Sauk. And then probably the biggest project that we'll be involved in is the management of their giant greenhouse out there. If you haven't been out there to tour that or see that, you should definitely take a tour out there. That has a lot of opportunity to get the community involved. So if you know a group that is interested in partnering with us in terms of getting some greenhouse space and working on some greenhouse projects, we will happily coordinate that for them. So that's kind of all the big news that's happening. I did want to take just 1 minute and introduce my colleague, Mike Delaney, who is our community economic development educator. He just wants to share with you a little bit about what he does.
Thank you, Carla, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here for the first time in front of y'all. My name is Mike Delaney, and as Carla says, I'm our community and economic development educator for Extension. I serve Lee County. I also serve Carroll and Whiteside, as well as Boone, DeKalb, and Ogle counties. So I'm originally from Rockford, so I'm becoming much more familiar with the northwest corner of the state now, and delighted. It's lovely country and so many resources and so many interesting folks. Community and economic development educator role is basically designed, it's one of the team subject matter areas that's available through Extension that a lot of folks don't necessarily know a lot about. As Carla says, everybody knows about 4-H. We do a lot of other things. To put it briefly, the role of the community and economic development team is to provide programming that helps communities and regions build capacity to do community planning and economic development. In short, that's what I'm here. I'm here to be a resource. My role is to be a resource for you all and to connect the communities to campus and the resources that are available in the economic development and community planning subject matter area available through the University of Illinois. One plug that I'd like to put in is for one key resource that I think is particularly valuable, and I know a number of folks here in Lee County have taken advantage of it, but I'd encourage all of you to perhaps take a look into it, and that's our local government education webinar series. Now, this is a series that's been going on for a number of years, and the ranks of people participating has grown dramatically over the last several years. This past year, 2022, we had 3,000 attendees to our programming, live attendees, and then another 4,000 folks who viewed the programming after the fact in the archives that are available on YouTube. Really easy to find, go.illinois.edu/LGE. And it's the programming range, the bottom line is that the programming is designed to address topics that would be of interest to local governmental elected and appointed officials. So anybody in this room that might fit that bill? We do have a number of folks from Lee County who participate on a fairly regular basis, but we'd love to grow that number. So I encourage you to check it out on the web. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and contact me. I'd love to either have a direct conversation with you or we can correspond. Thank you for your time. As I say, I'm here to be a resource. I'm always available for your call anytime you feel like it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody questions or anything, comments for either of them? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Wendy, we skipped over administrative monthly update. Do you got anything you want to share with us?
I do not, other than the things that are on the agenda.
All right, thank you. We'll go to reports of standing committee. We'll start with county services. Mr. Skogstad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. County Services met October 10th, 9 a.m. Our unapproved minutes and all the department reports are in the agenda packet when it becomes available to all you right now. But there's a couple things I want to point out that in the assessment office, they provided a report that I think most of you should at least take a look at. But she has a report that pretty much says that the mortgage demand hits a 27-year low. And it's probably due to the fact, well, it is due to the fact that the high interest rates, and of course, I don't understand mortgage rates and stuff like that, why it's so high, but I hear it's because of inflation. So they have to adjust that. That's what my understanding is of it. But then it just kind of goes on that the sales were down in Lee County, and that there is, anyways, I don't want to gobble it up. I'll just have you guys read that report. It's in that packet. Sorry. Yeah, I'll stumble over everything. To let everybody know that recyclable electronics at the Highway Department there in Amboy will be accepted up until November 3rd, and that will be closed until the spring. Also, a new recycling guideline sign is being made to replace the worn out one that is currently down on West 4th Street at the recycling dumpster located at the food pantry. Hopefully this can deter people from just dumping trash there. Also, the IT department says that they have a county employee and board members that are supposed to take an online class for security awareness. So if fellow board members are receiving emails from KnowBe4 and you have one assignment that is 37 days overdue, that's you. I say that like I've gotten 15 of them. So anyway, so that is for you guys for all of us to take, not just you all. But anyways, that's my report.
Any questions for Jack?
Yes, please, any. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to public safety, Mr. Copine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public safety met right after the JAX committee, I'm sorry. We had reports available or given, starting with animal control. They have hired a new animal control officer. The young man's name is Stephen Mahan. And also reported by Terry, they have an overabundance of animals that have been getting turned over to animal control because of financial disabilities to support the animals. So if you know of anybody looking for a pet, they can take care of it and treat it like a family member. See Terry, she'd be glad to talk to you. The monthly meeting was submitted from the circuit clerk's office and is available in the county board packet of information. Amy was busy attending a conference and couldn't make the meeting. EMA, Mr. Lally was not able to attend the meeting, but submitted a report chronicling the events and the activities of the EMA office. It is also available on the September county board agenda packet. Probation was also submitted and is available. The office continues to work through union negotiations. The meeting will be Thursday, next meeting would be Thursday, September 14th. The Safety Act will be fully implemented on September 18th. The office will be making the necessary adjustments needed to meet the requirements set forth by the Act. The Dependent Children's Care Fund continues to significantly surpass the amount budgeted for fiscal year 2003. Sheriff submitted his report also. The Sheriff Committee through the Sheriff's Office monthly report. The report will be attached to the minutes of the September County Board agenda packet. State's Attorney also basically echoed the same information that Stacy had as far as all the changes and everything that are on board. That report will be available in the packet. Quarterly update on the collection of unpaid fines. State's Attorney in September, $4,517.15 was collected in unpaid fines. A total of $47,538.45 has been collected so far in 2023. On the report of abandoned property focus, there was actually nothing new other than the things that are pending right now, and they would be available through the county board packet also. I reported on some information that I went out and collected as I returned home from one of the meetings here a couple of weeks ago. I viewed 4 properties, all of which are either in the abandoned abandoned building category or deteriorated or caving in or something like that. And I've gotten with the zoning office on a couple of those for follow-up. Some that didn't reply that I asked that we recontact them. We have nothing under unfinished business, nothing for new business, nothing for executive session. And we adjourned the meeting at approximately 11:30 a.m. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those for you.
Any questions or comments for Mike? And thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
We'll go to facilities and maintenance, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We met Tuesday at 3 o'clock. We had a couple of discussions. Some of the highlights for the month, we got the concrete between the old LEC and the 911 center poured and repaired, so we're not dumping water into 911's garage anymore. The front steps at the old courthouse are completed. The handrails are installed. The last thing we have to do there is we're waiting. We received bids for the landscaping. We're just going through that, but we'll get the landscaping around that area completed. This month, the end of this month, the elevator here in this building that's been pushed back to the end of this month to get started on this elevator. And on the project across the street for all the HVAC, all the engineering money was released about 4 to 5 weeks ago. We contacted Doug from Allied, and all the engineering is almost completed on the project across the street, and they'll be going out for bids. And we'll be receiving something from them in the next few weeks as far as our budget numbers, and the engineering is completed, but it just has to be put out for bid. Everything else is in the packet. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I think they finished the lights out front or back, whatever you want to call it here too. Somebody said they're up and look beautiful. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I think our guys did that. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions for Tom? Thanks, Tom. We'll move to claims. Mr. Zeman?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Claims Committee meetings are in your packet. We did meet twice, September 20th at 9 a.m. We initiated 67 claims and passed them on to the county board. And the other meeting was on October 4th at 9 a.m. We logged in and reviewed 58 claims and sent them on to the county board. That's really my report about that. But if down toward the end of the commit or the agenda on section, is that 19? You can look at the claims paid in detail and see what we're talking about. When I say, 58 claims, you can say, well, okay. But this shows, right, each claim as it's approved by the board. And that's really my report. Thank you.
Any questions for Mike? Thanks, Mike. We'll go to finance, Mr. Sheeline. Oh, no.
You know, it's really bad when the finance committee chair gets up and goes to the podium. Because that means this meeting that was screaming along real quick came to a screeching halt. So, but that's the way it is, because guess what? It's budget time. So the finance committee met last Thursday and completed its work in regards to this year's budget. That was in your packet and as part of also the levy as well. In the past, I've always asked, last year was my first budget for this body. And I asked the question, I presented the budget, it's in your packet. Any questions? And I didn't get any questions. And I told you guys that this year I was going to do it a little different. Now, I threatened to plant some questions. I didn't do that. But I think what we're going to do, and I've got Paul and Wendy ready to go. And if you guys want to follow along on your screen, if you go to resources and go to general budget detail in your resource folder, or follow along on the screen, and we're going to go through the budget. I think this is important from the aspect is that we have many new board members that really haven't had an opportunity to look at our budget and have questions asked and answered and that kind of thing. So I encourage you, if there's something that strikes out at you as we go through, we don't have to wait till the end, and you want to ask questions, I encourage you to do so. So at this time, Paul, if you want to bring that, you got that page up, and we're gonna start with revenues. And what we have here is you have the history in that folder. You have the history of last couple of years, what last year's budget was, and what we're proposing for fiscal year 24. So, Paul, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so I'm assuming they're seeing the same thing maybe on their screens. If not, it's up on the larger screen here in the middle. If you need me to expand it, I can a little bit. That way you guys can see it. That might help if it's a little bigger there. Basically, the top side of this is revenues. So this is county general. It is not a specific fund to a specific, like a treasurer's fund or the sheriff's has different funds. So this is county general. We have property tax, county sales tax, county-wide sales tax. There's two different things there. One is a county tax within municipalities, and then the other is sales that are outside of municipality that is just county tax. So when you have a sales tax inside the municipality, that municipality is going to get more of that sales tax than any other governing body. So you have two different types, local use tax, cannabis tax, treasurers or tourism franchise. So these are all of the different revenues that are coming in through county general. State income tax, there's some miscellaneous revenues, there's some clerk fees, raffle permits, liquor licenses, and circuit fees, drug fines, court systems. It's in that file that we have. I guess I'm encouraging you as I get down to the bottom of, I'm looking at a estimated total receipts of 16.1 million. Is there any questions in relation to that as it pertains to this file, or even this year to last year or over the last couple of years? Go ahead.
How do we get to that file? Is it within our onboard?
It should, there should be a file, when you might be able to help me out. It should be there is like a PDF form.
Sure.
So if you scroll down a little bit further under new business, it's the budget ordinance, and it'll be in a PDF format.
Oh, it's under new business.
Is everybody finding that? Down under new business, budget ordinance, fiscal year 2024 budget ordinance, the document attached has this information in PDF.
Now that's the ordinance form?
That's the ordinance form that they've got attached to the agenda itself. So Jim, what Paul is displaying is the Excel file, and Onboard doesn't like Excel files. It tends to jumble them up. So that's why we presented it to you in a PDF format. Should be the same numbers.
So they don't have the same, because I was looking off of the general fund budget in the resource folder. You're in the general fund? Yeah, we're in general fund.
I mean, Nancy's got it. Nancy, you have that up also there on that bar screen as on the PDF.
Okay. We want to make sure that everybody has it up and running so that as we're going through the numbers, that we're all together. Ally, do you have it? Okay. Jack is coming in. Okay, we all good? All right, so as we started the budget process, and I guess I'll preface, I should have prefaced a little bit as far as our process goes. So in July, first part of July, department heads receive a form in regards to what their needs are for the upcoming year. And then they provide that back to the treasurer's office, and then the treasurer's office puts that together in this format. And then Paul does his magic as far as the assumptions that we want to use in regards to revenues and what we're anticipating, works with Jennifer Boyd and putting together what we think we're anticipating in regards, because remember, in July, we don't really have a good idea of what the property tax numbers are going to be. So it's kind of a best guess, right? So as we get closer to the end of the year, things get tighter and tighter, and we can be a little bit more confident in our numbers. So we do that in July, and then the finance committee starts getting together at the end of July and into August, and we start going through. And the process we use now is a little different than what it was when I first started and what we used for years and years. And that was we had every single department come in and justify their ask. And so what we've done, and that spent a lot of time. Not very fruitful in my view, because there was a lot of departments that we have that really just don't change a lot from year to year unless there's personnel changes and whatnot. So what we decided to do is we had departments come in that had significant change or were a significant part of the budget. Speaking of which, the gentleman sitting over here looking at his laptop, he's a significant part of the budget. So of course we always look at the sheriff's, that's just standard operating procedure. Amy's budget is another one that we always, we have Amy come in and explain, what's going on in her area and what her asks and needs are. So that's how we put that together. Now we add that all together and we come up with a bottom line number using the assumptions that Paul has put together in regards to revenue. And where we came up with this year was an $850,000 deficit. That's where we're at. And so we had to close that. So the revenue numbers that you see in that budget are adjusted revenue budgets from that we have adjusted over time using guidance, sometimes like the personal property replacement tax. That number, if you look at the history of, and you go across the personal property replacement tax line item, that number changes quite significantly. Well, last year we took a best guess, and that thing has been off the rails as far as in regards to the amount of revenue that's come into for that line item. And so, but we Paul received notification from the Illinois Department of Revenue Office saying, guess what? That's not going to be there. Don't count on that revenue this year. It's going to be cut by 30%. So that was the number Paul used. Well, then he got further guidance saying, well, it's going to look a little bit differently. So we were able to move that number up a little bit. The same thing, we use kind of the same process in regards to all the other. I guess I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it. I think it's worth noting again here as we go through this, is that it used to be back in Tim Bivens' old days was that probably, what, Tim, 60 to 70% of the revenue for the county was the property tax. That was it. Little bit of sales tax, maybe a little bit of personal property replacement tax. Now we're down to, as you can see, Paul's showing a revenue of $15,356,000. Well, property tax is only $6.7 million. So less than 50% of our revenue comes from property taxes. So and this is county. Now, this is, people get confused and they look at their property tax of what the check that they write, and they lump all of us in government together. But the reality is 2/3 of the property tax goes to school districts. We make up between 10 and 11% of the total tax bill is what comes in for county revenue. We depend, and this has moved gradually over the years, but we live and die on the economy. That's really what it boils down to. The property tax provides us a base revenue. The sales tax is what can fluctuate by the economy year over year. And so we've enjoyed seeing large increases in and as you can see in the history, we've enjoyed large increases of revenue coming from our sales tax. The reason for that is a lot, and this started when Bob was finance chairman, was the Wayfair tax, and that was the impact of the internet in regards capturing the sales tax that our folks here in the county are doing, and they're purchasing online. We weren't able to capture that revenue before, but as the law changed and we were able to bring all that sales tax home, that's made a huge difference. And that's really helped us out in our revenue numbers. So are there any questions in regards to revenue, or I'm going to quit talking and hand it back to Paul? Any questions on revenue numbers? All right, thanks. Paul, go ahead.
And maybe to give you guys a better feel for the percentage, I switched it over to a file that I built that kind of shows our revenues in different categories, condensed into the categories. And in that middle screen there, you can see that property tax is 39% of the total. Your sales tax is 14%. Income tax is 18%. Fees and fines that we get throughout the county is 11%. Service income is 10%. And then everything else is under 10%. So yeah, there is a significant amount in property tax that we use as our revenues. But then between I'll call that the economy base, meaning sales, income, and fees and fines, that's another 40 to 50% right there. I'll go back to, this is the general file. This is the file that you guys are seeing also in yours. So the revenue that we have projected is 16 million. So then you say, okay, well then obviously we have expenses that go against that. So this is where we pull it by each department in the county general. And this is the view that you guys are seeing in that budget. It goes from the top line where if you're looking at the accounting structure, 001 is the county general fund. And then the next 3 digits are a department digit. And then the last 6 are actual account numbers. And all of those account numbers stay the same for every department. It's just broken out by different departments. So at the 000 level, that's at the very high level. What do we have here? Those are all the expenses that we're looking at a county-wide level. And then you come into 016 is more of the health insurance line. And then you start getting into the actual departments. So 001 would be the county clerk, and you can see salaries, benefits, and then you get into their software and expense, just kind of their expenses. They also have an election department, circuit clerk, and what they have, again, all of that is salaries, benefits, and expenses. Treasurer's office is in the same way. And then on down, here's the sheriff's department. I guess what I'm going through here is in that packet is your county general expenses by department all the way down to a total. And I didn't know, Jim, if you wanted to go line by line or department by department, but if anybody had any questions in general, as he said, most of this detail comes from department heads. And I can show you in a different format, really the expenses and how by department, and then a budget change year over year. And that's this file, and I'll try to expand that a little bit so you guys can see it better. But then you can see, hey, how did that change year over year? And a lot of people have some questions. Well, how are the department heads doing? Or is it going, are we out of control? And as you look at this, there's not a lot here that screams out that somebody's really asking for a lot year over year. And then this is by department. This other file, I showed you the revenues. Well, then here's your expenses, and this is at a total level. So if you look at wages, you have wages and benefits, and we look at it in total with those two, that's really about 64 to 65% of your expenses are wages and benefits. And then you get into contractual obligations, and supplies is only 4%. Utilities is only 2%. The debt that we pay off, the debt is for the LEC. Again, it's funded through a different source, but it's paid through the county general. It's only 6% of the totals. So I want to make sure everybody kind of has a understanding of that, where your dollars are best being spent, and if you have any questions in relation to that.
Does anybody have any questions in regards to the different departments as presented? Okay. All right. Anything else you want to do, Paul?
No, I'll point out that your expenses in total are in this budget are going to have a growth of about 11%. And really what that means is you're seeing the effect of the inflation that has happened over the last year and a half, 2 years. We are not immune to that inflation cost. So as such, we need to be thinking strategically, where could we get more revenue to cover that? Or, what do we need to do to stop the cost?
Hearing no questions, Mr. Chairman. Oh, Angie.
Are we talking about the adjustments we're going to make right now or later in new business?
So we are presenting the budget right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have an executive, I'm going to ask for executive session here. And we have some things we need to talk about. And then after that, when we get down into new business, we will adopt or amend the budget and have the presentation of the levy.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
But we're actually laying the budget over for a month.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. I always forget that layover part.
Any questions or comments for Jim? Is that the rest of your report?
I guess we might as well just go on ahead and go into executive session at this time.
You got it.
That's so moved.
Do I have a second? Mr. Wilson seconds. And do this by roll call vote.
Acree,
Yeah.
Bivens,
Yes.
Book,
Yes.
Freo,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Huss,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Larum,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Robertson, Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
White, Wilson,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you. We're going to meet in the committee room. I take it here and.
Yeah, and I forgot as part of my motion is that the purpose of going into executive session was for contract negotiations.
Thank you. Let's take a couple minutes.